Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And today I'm joined by Bonnie Schutz, who is the founder and CEO of Tandem Resource Solutions, which is a boutique US-based administrative recruiting and remote support agency. She gets things done. She has helped entrepreneurs, executives, and professional service providers delegate more strategically. And with nearly 4 decades in the administrative world, including 27 years in corporate roles and many years supporting C-level leaders, Bonnie brings both the behind-the-scenes expertise and founder-level perspective to the delegation conversation. Bonnie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amanda. Happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. So right out the gate, I want to know, what is something you see a lot of founders doing that they really must start delegating?
Boy, everything. I know that's so broad, but I speak from experience. When I left corporate and delved into this world of entrepreneurship myself, everything was staying in my head, and everything was controlled by me. And so it's just not opening their minds to the power of delegation would be my answer.
Interesting. Okay, so can you give me some examples of tells or behaviors that you see in a business owner where maybe they could be more open to delegating? Because I mean, everything. My first reaction to that is like, right? The whole reason that we become entrepreneurs is for freedom and control. So what are some things that specifically you see as like, no, but you really shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah, well, it's just what you said. It's a lot of control. It's a lot of, when you create your business, it's your baby and you want it to represent you. And how on earth could somebody else represent me like me? So they always said nobody can do it better than me. And yes, maybe in the beginning as you're setting it up and you're starting to grow, I think delegation becomes a little bit easier when you're maybe a little bit in and you're up to a certain revenue range where you're just being hit like wildcats all over the place and you just can't do it on your own. And you just finally come to the realization, like, I have to let something go. And so my favorite piece of advice is to just dip your toes in the water. I didn't know what I could delegate because I was always a delegatee. So I didn't know what I could delegate until I tried it. The
What's
first
the
thing I
first thing
delegated,
you delegated, though?
you read my mind. First thing I delegated was my bookkeeping. I don't like
Mm,
math. I don't want to do the books. So bookkeeping, that's a great one. And the people that I've talked to, I think the consensus is that most of them try that first. It's about letting go. Like that Elsa, let it go kind of thing. Try it. You don't have to do it forever. You can, if you're doing your due diligence and you're working with somebody, be open about it. I've never done this before. I'd like to work with a bookkeeper. Can I try your services for 90 days and let you know if I'd like to continue? So those kind of things.
yeah, I love that. How do you know whether you should, for example, hire a service? Like, I think about bookkeeping, there's lots of bookkeeping services out there versus, taking the big leap and starting to hire assistants and people that are playing a slightly bigger role in the business. How do I know when to do that and
I
what's the
think it,
first thing
yeah,
there?
I think it kind of depends on your revenue in the, where you feel like you can afford it. If I'm being honest, if your budget is there for it.
Hmm.
An agency is going to be less touch. It's going to be more blank and they're going to do what they do as their processes go. But what I've seen is some people that have been in business for a little while, like that personal touch and the personal relationships with, say, an assistant who's somebody that's your right arm. They have to know you well. With an agency like mine, it's a mom and pop. It's a smaller agency. It's not the behemoths, it's not the ones that you're going to get lost in the shuffle. If you really want that high touch, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, finding a more boutique agency or even a solopreneur who also is in business for themselves, and that's where I think I connect best with my clients is I'm doing this right alongside you. I'm running a business too. And it just makes me even coming as an EA before for their almost 30 years, my heart goes out and I want to help them as a business owner because I can relate now. And so having that personal one-on-one thing is really important if that's something you like. But yeah, I think a solo person is going to be somebody that's that high touch. A lot of us need. But you know what? If you're just growing beyond belief and you can go with an agency and like a huge bookkeeping firm, go for it because they know what they're doing by that time.
Well, and there's always gonna be, like, an investment attached to that, whether it's, somebody who's more of a solopreneur, mom and pop. Like, there's definitely delegation requires investment. I'd love to
Um,
hear, like, when you finally decided that you were going to not just be the helper, but to get the support, right? Get the help. What came up for you in that season when you were thinking about making that change?
It was reputation and brand. If I practice what I preach and I want to delegate to elevate like I practice, I need to do it. And so I had so many people that I've talked to about the tips and tricks and their best practices that I thought, let's apply this thing. And I had the mind excuse my language. I had the mind freeze, we'll say, that was for saying, I can't afford this. And I always thought of that old adage of, you gotta invest a little money to make a little money kind of thing. And so I let that kind of be my guide and say, this is just how you gotta do it. Because if you're running flat, you're not scaling, you're not building, it might be because that you're not delegating because you're trying to do it all. I
Totally.
see that,
Yeah.
and I have tried to do it all. I really have, to save the budget and make more money. That's a big motivator. But
I think
the
that's
possibilities grow when you have somebody else on your team helping you out.
totally. And I think a lot of female entrepreneurs especially, and not just female entrepreneurs, I think heart-centered, people that are doing it to take care of other people. So, like, that could be
Mhm.
men too, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
But I would say definitely with women when they are building a business and they're so used to taking care of everybody around them, and they're so used to, being maybe that matriarch or maybe being that person that everybody in their family unit goes to. I think it's especially hard to let go. That's been my observation anyway. I'm curious, have you seen that a lot?
I do. I'm in an organization that I've aligned myself with. Is called Second Act Women. And it's about women who've made a pivot, maybe from corporate like you and I, into running our own businesses in their second acts. And so I have a lot of wealth of knowledge of the people in that age because we all have that imposter syndrome that creeps in a lot. Like, who wants to work for me? I had that in my business when the first person said, I want to work for you. I'm like, me? Like, why on earth would you want to work for me? So it's kind of like putting the kibosh on that imposter syndrome. And what I've discovered, I can tell you a quick story of one of my first delegation stories was when I brought on an intern. I am an empty nester. So my kids are gone out of the nest. And like you mentioned, and it made me think about it. Women, maybe not all of us, some of us have that empty nest thing, and we like being the mother, the nurturer. When I when I brought on my intern, I didn't realize how much I liked teaching and mentoring and thinking about where he was going in life, and that I was going to be a little part of that. So it's a lot of times it's just reframing your mind. Helping others can go so much to the nth degree when you think about who you're helping. I like to have people on my team or service providers be single mothers, stay-at-home moms, military wives, those kind of things that I can really feel good about giving back and working with.
One of the things that came to my mind around delegation, I too struggled with the part where you want me to ask for help, not just be the helper. What? No. I think one of the biggest breakthroughs
Sure.
I really had was the changing my velocity from, like, I'm a job escaper. When you're in the second chapter, it's like there's a lot of things like in the old world that you're like, I didn't like that. This wasn't aligned. This is not
Mhm.
great. I got to escape. And you know what? Like, whatever motivates you to do you, boo, is like definitely the
Yes.
best. But
Mhm.
my breakthrough is really similar around just realizing that I don't have to just be a job escaper, I can be a job creator. I can be somebody who creates opportunity for other people to develop skill, to develop their confidence, to develop to develop their career. And maybe they're with me for a minute, right? Or they're with me for a long time. And like that's I think one of the most rewarding things about the second chapter personally.
It
Like
really is.
the
Mhm.
impact and being like kind of it's almost like a realignment when you move from being just like a cog in an org to
Mhm.
being somebody who's creating something else that is better and takes care of some of those problems that maybe you experienced in the past.
Yes. Oh, it's so true. That's really resonating with me because it's like I wanted to build the company that I would have wanted to work for. So I
Mm.
wanted my team to feel that way and get all the things that I wanted that I never got in my corporate roles. I
Mhm.
mean, maybe I'm not able to give them quite everything I would have wanted, but I'm close. And I really care about my team and I really, want them to stay. That makes, if you're going to invest the money that you protected for so long, make them want to stay. Ask a
Absolutely.
lot of questions.
And that's, I think, one of the big differences between, like a small business versus like a big corporation is it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
tough for a
Right.
corporation to keep that heart and keep that
Mhm.
care. And, it can be very intimidating, I think, as a small business owner. To your point, like the more resources you have, the more availability you have to like hiring. What would you say to someone who maybe they're in their early years or they're hustling and they're like modestly successful, but they keep hitting this capacity ceiling? Like they keep running out of time. They keep dropping the ball, basically. Like,
Mhm.
I think one of the hardest things is making that very, very first hire. What would you tell
It
them?
is. Yeah, no, again, it's like kind of let it go, kind of just do it, get your feet wet. I know it's hard. Listen to people like you and I who are advocating for you. Look at your resources, look at who you know in your network, and reach out to them and ask them about this person that you are thinking about hiring or bringing on as a contractor or something or a service that is going to be provided to you. Ask questions. I can't overemphasize asking questions. What was it like to work with them? Why are you recommending them to me? Give me an example of what they did for you and how it got you to X, Y, and Z. The whole game, I think, for me, is asking a lot of questions to get more clarity. And questions de escalate things really fast. It puts the ball in that person's court to just talk about themselves in a lighthearted way, and share of themselves as well. So I think that again is my very heart centric focus here, but it's worked for me. And it took me a while to start to ask all the questions. And I think I've just learned that it works really well.
Well, and you'd rather I heard this in a mastermind years ago, and it was a writer downer, which was like the best time to fire someone is before you ever hire them, right? So, right, because it's just awkward later. So, I love that wisdom of just ask the questions and follow your heart, and like really be curious. And, I think something that really helped me as well is just recognizing if my own path involved multiple chapters, which it has, right? It's reasonable that someone is looking for you for a particular chapter. I mean, like, there's a lot of small businesses that probably do have the capacity to hire, but they're still thinking in the corporate paradigm. They're like, "Oh, can I give this person a job for 40 years? Can I do like a full W-2 with benefits?" Like, and the radical truth is that there are a lot of people who are maybe looking for the next step in their career, or they're looking for maybe a season of support. So, like, what about that? What about like project-based hiring? Is that something that you advocate people do?
I do. And not to be all salesy, but I do that with my agency too. And I've just put a lot out there about one off project work because it seems to be where my clients are headed. They can't always feel like they can make the commitment, like you said, for years. They want to just, and especially if it's their first hire, but maybe more businesses listening to this that are service providers can provide those try before you buy type one-offs to see how they like it. And I think maybe you seek out those kind of firms or or service providers that can help you that way because then you kind of get a really good feeling of whether you're going to be good at this or not. And that's
Mhm.
important to be good at.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a real win-win to think in terms of project too, right? Because it gives them an opportunity to try out your brand. And like if they don't vibe, or if it's like it was fine, but we don't really want to do anymore, by having like a clear end date on a discrete project, everybody moves ahead and it doesn't have the tears.
Sure. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so that's pretty powerful. What would you tell the gal or guy who is like, "Yep, sounds good, ladies. I'm overwhelmed. Like, I have so many things. This feels really impossible. I'm absolutely stuck." Like, any tips there?
I mean, I would say if you're feeling stuck and you don't invest a little time, that you just block out this time that you're going to invest to find a way to get unstuck by bringing somebody on to support you, then you're going to stay stuck.
Mhm.
You just have to be able if it's important enough for you to get out of this stress and out of this, load, then you have to make the time. And bringing any service provider on takes a little time and that commitment. And if you are the service provider and their client is saying, I've got time put aside for you, that is your client because on both sides, you want to do what's right. You want them to last if you're the client. If you're the service provider, you want them to be dedicated and really ready to do this with you. And so it's kind of like a win win again if you invest time and I think you have to really think about it. Can I invest this time in this person to train them, have them understand my company goals and messaging and vision? Time. So time is my answer. Really long way to say it, but time is my
I
answer.
know.
Invest.
But it's kind of like
Hmm.
the same philosophy you shared earlier, where you've got to spend a little money to make a little money. If you want to make more time, if you want to buy your time back, you got to make the time, right?
Hmm.
To be able to do that, to like, first of all, form the plan, then engage someone, perhaps like yourself, who can actually do some of the matching. So you find the right personality fit and the right
Yes.
person to actually realize your plan with you. And it does take time to
Hmm.
manage it. But when you consider the capacity that you get back, it's like this little investment that makes a really big return, right? I love
Yeah, a
this.
little effort at the beginning, and then it just usually, if it's a good match, it's smooth sailing from there, and then you'll just start to feel the relief through your whole body. Let me tell you, I know I did.
Me too. Yes, absolutely. I really do believe in partnership and working with the right people and the right timing and the right things. Bonnie,
Hmm.
this has been such a pleasure. Like if somebody wanted to,
Hey,
I don't know, listen to you tell some more stories or connect with your expertise, what's the best way to do that?
my gosh, there's so many ways. I'm on LinkedIn, Bonnie Schutz, Schutz. You can reach my remote support professional agency, which is admin and ops support, and a recruiting firm called Tandem Resource Solutions at tandemresourcesolutions.com. And my podcast, which Amanda will soon be a guest on, Delegate to Elevate the number two. Get S done. You
I
can tune
love it.
into Delegate to Elevate podcast.com as well.
Definitely. And dear listener, we'll make sure that we've got all of those links for you in the show notes below. Before we go, Bonnie, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to meet you.
It's such a pleasure. Okay, so dear listener, make sure you grab Bonnie's resources that she shared in the notes below. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend. Maybe you've had a friend who's been stuck in delegating. You know they need help, they can't get it for free, and they're going to have to make that big move. Make them listen to this episode. Just grab the link, share it with like three of your friends, and you will be that helpful friend to them. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, right? Because when you subscribe, it lets us know that we should keep on producing content exactly like this. And if you really love it, do make sure that you stop by and leave a review wherever you happen to be listening. Those 30 seconds help new listeners decide if they're going to spend time with us, and we appreciate each and every single one. Until I see you on our next episode, make sure you do what matters.